Hey guys, welcome back to another video here on the channel. Today, I want to help you guys get a little bit better at Halo Infinite multiplayer. There's one trend that I've noticed among the comment sections of my Halo Infinite videos, and that seems to be that there's a lot of people that are either new to the franchise or haven't played it in a very long time. So I want to give you guys some tips and tricks, some things that I've learned with my time on Halo Infinite multiplayer, as well as my time with the franchise over the years that hopefully will get you guys, a little bit more of an advantage over your opponent. Now, obviously, I'm not an esports pro, and this is not necessarily an exhaustive list. There's a lot of stuff in here, but if there's anything that I'm missing out and you're aware of, please let us all know in the comments section below so we can all help each other get a little bit better at the game. Now, as far as my time with Halo, I've been playing since the early days. I played a lot of ranked in Halo 3. Haven't really ever played, much ranked in the other games, but Halo 3 I played a lot. I got to like level 49 in a couple different game modes in ranked play, which was kind of hard because it went up to level 50, and if you basically played bad or lost a game when you were in the 40s area, you would rank down pretty easily. You had to play really well consistently. So that's kind of a little bit of a backstory. Right now in Halo Infinite, I'm actually sitting at Platinum 6, just about to hit Diamond at the time of recording this, which again is not necessarily the best, but it's a little up there, right? So I'm decent at the game, I would say, and I think that hopefully I can help you guys out. So if you do enjoy this video, like, we super appreciate it, so it can, YouTube will push it out to more people, so it can help even more people. If you don't like it, that's fine, dislike it, or subscribe if you want to stick around for more content. So the first thing is probably obvious, but we have to cover it just for, consistency and thoroughness, right? If you go to your settings, you can switch out your button layout, your thumbstick layout, obviously your keybinds if you're playing keyboard and mouse, your sensitivity, right? You want to tweak your sensitivity. You want to find all this before jumping into the game. Right now I'm sitting at about 6.5. You got your look acceleration as well, which, sets the acceleration for the look thumbstick. So there's all this different stuff. Zoom sensitivity. You can tweak all of this, right? Your dead zones and all that good stuff. So, be sure to go through all this, see what, suits best for your play style, whether it's controller or whether it's keyboard and mouse. And once you have all that set up, you should be good to go. Now, the other thing is that there is a tutorial which will teach you the very basics of the game, sprinting and mantling and aiming and all that stuff, which we're going to talk about in a minute. And then there's also a training mode, which you can fight against, with and against AI bots to improve your skill. Now, if you actually go to the multiplayer section, you can go to Bot Bootcamp if you want real people on your team, but bots on the other team. But if you want just bots, that's where you'd go, is training mode. Now, there's weapon drills, which are very important to kind of practice, different guns and your aiming. So we're going to go in there just to start, just to show you guys the fundamentals of, aiming and all that good stuff. Okay, so I came to the firing range in the tutorial itself because then I have no timer, which is great, right? I would just kind of show you guys real quick. So aiming is the first thing you guys are going to want to do, right? You're going to focus on your aiming. There's two different kinds of aiming. You can zoom in or you can just not zoom in, right? Which would technically, I guess, be a hip fire. Zooming in is obviously new to the franchise with Halo 5 and of course Halo Infinite as well. So we're going to reset these. And you can see that they're all moving around, right? So the first thing is you want to learn to aim for the head, right? Know where to hit, right where your crosshair is, just kind of like right there, kind of like almost half above their head, if you will, maybe a third above their head, and try to go for the head, because obviously with the head, they're going to die a lot faster, right, than if you're going for body shots. That's the one thing that'll help you win gunfights, is going for that head. The other thing, as you can see, is as they're moving around, I'm kind of, I'm slightly leading my shot, right? Trying to predict where they're going to go, right? Because they're moving around, they're strafing, and obviously, I want to be able to hit the moving target. So you're gonna have to try to predict, are they going to go right? Are they going to go left? Now these AI are just moving right and left. But if they were human players, they'd probably be strafing a lot more quickly from the left to the right, from the right to the left. Of course, you can also aim to give you a little bit more kind of zoom and accuracy in that sense, right? Get a little bit more on target. Sometimes it's easier not to zoom if the target's too close like this. If the target's far, a little bit easier to zoom. But if you do get hit, here's the thing. If they were to shoot at me, it would automatically zoom me out, right? So there's that. Now, like I said, they're moving around. So the other thing you got to learn is, once you've kind of figured out how to aim really well while standing still, try to learn how to aim while moving, right? The most important thing is to learn how to strafe. You got to move back and forth, right? Move left and right, kind of psych them out, right? Now, it doesn't have to be a set pattern. You see, right now, I'm in a set pattern. I'm moving back and forth at kind of like, I go so far to the left and then I go back so far to the right. But be unpredictable, right? Like, start going back to the right a little bit kind of sooner, okay? Like before you're all the way here, go back sooner. Maybe throw in some crouches if you can in there, right? Just trying to throw your enemy off. You're trying to make it harder for them to aim at you. That's ultimately what you're trying to do. So if you can practice strafing while aiming, trying to keep it locked on the head and trying to, you know, hit those shots, which again, I'm not the very best, but if you can practice doing that and, you know, kind of crouching a little bit here and, okay, you know, I'm strafing, I'm moving around, I'm trying to be a very hard target to hit, that is going to make a little bit, it's going to give you a little bit more of an advantage, because then it's going to be harder for your enemy to hit you. But if you can aim while doing that, you're going to be able to hit your target and you're going to be able to win those gunfights. Does that make sense? I hope it does. The other thing is obviously learn the various weapons, right? You can go into training mode or the weapon drills or whatever, practice with different weapons, whether it's the sniper, the BR, the AR, you know, whatever it is. There's a wide variety of weapons to choose from. You know, all the power weapons, all the different kinds of weapons that are in the game. So learn the weapons, how they all function, how they all work as well, because you're going to want to pick up different weapons on the map, which we're going to talk about that in just a second. Okay, so now that we got the kind of, you know, the aiming down, let's talk about actual combat besides, you know, just shooting, right? Because there's a lot more to it. And these bots are going to kill me. There's a lot more to it than just, you know, aiming and strafing, right? Now, if you're playing kind of quick play, you'll start out with this loadout. You'll have the AR, and then you'll have your sidekick as well, right? So you'll have your M4 or your MA40 AR, and you'll have your sidekick. Now, if you're playing ranked, you'll start with a BR, and that's it. You'll have no secondary weapon whatsoever. So either way, the point is, learn the weapons. Like I said, these are kind of the main weapons to learn, and then everything else are kind of secondary, right? Like the needler here, for example, right? You want to learn all of these different weapons. So beyond that, meleeing and grenades, right? So you can see that we start with a couple grenades, right? There's some other kind of grenades you can pick up. So you start with normal frag grenades, which if you throw, you can see what they do, right? Takes a couple seconds to blow up. Whereas the other ones, these ones stick. So if you were to throw this at someone, those are like semtexts from, you know, other kind of more realistic shooter games, if you're familiar. So that's how those work. So learn the different kinds of grenades. There's actually other ones as well, which I think there's some up here, but they're basically like these sticks, and they also kind of stick to objects and people. Those ones actually stick to walls as well and surfaces. So the other thing is meleeing, like I said, right? You want to learn how to melee and how to combine shooting and meleeing with grenades, right? So for example, if I get into a gunfight, let's say I get into a gunfight with this bot right here, I can go melee them at a certain time to finish them off, right? You got to learn how much damage have you done with your gun, where the melee is going to be enough to kind of finish them off. Or if you're close enough, you could always just go like this, right? You could just melee them and then try to go, you know, either finish them off with the gun, or if you're close enough, melee them a second time. It is risk versus reward, so you got to kind of figure that out for yourself. The other thing is that if you do melee them from behind, which I'm probably not going to be able to get behind, but if you do melee someone from behind, it's going to be a one-hit melee, and it's going to kill them instantly. The other thing, like I said, is grenades, right? Learn how the grenades work, learn how they bounce, learn how much damage they do. So right there, I just damaged that guy, and he was super, super easy to finish off, right? So combine those three things, right? Between firing, right, your firepower, between your melees, and between your grenades. If you can learn how to combine the three really well, then, you know, you're gonna be set for, you know, for greatness, I guess. That's not the word I'm looking for at all, but you know what I mean, right? You're gonna have an edge over your opponent. And also learn how the grenades function, right? Because like I said, if you use normal frag grenades, learn how they bounce. So if there's someone right here, if I can bounce it off this corner, knowing that it'll then bounce here most likely, and then here, you know what I mean? Like learn those kind of things, right? How to bounce grenades in a certain way that it'll, you know, go to your designated target. Also know that sticky grenades, for example, or the plasma grenades rather, they're not going to bounce, right? They're going to kind of more just kind of, they're going to feel a little bit heavier, if you will. So learn that, and you should be good. Now, there's obviously other things that we're going to talk about once we get to the maps section, but there's also equipment and there's power-ups, right? So you've seen earlier when I was fighting that one of the enemies was glowing like white. So that means he had an overshield. So there's usually abilities. On this map, this is where it is right here. That's an overshield. There's no active camo. So the two power-ups are an overshield, which gives you an extra bar of health. So you can see my health at the top middle there, which is another thing, by the way. You got to pay attention to that. And that turns yellow when you have the active, when you have the overshield. When you have active camo, you're invisible but not completely. Like, you can still kind of see a little bit of a glimmer, but you are definitely a lot harder to see, and that can give you a little bit of an advantage as well. So the other thing we should probably mention regarding the health bar is know your health, right? Like, if I'm in a gunfight here, if I have an opportunity to back out, if, you know, obviously right here I don't because I'm kind of in the open, but if I can like kind of hide behind here and kind of, you know, if I see that I'm losing the gunfight, kind of give me a second to recharge, then take that opportunity, right? Take that opportunity if you can. But if you can't, if you are in a position where there is no way that you can, you know, get out to recharge, just do your best to damage the opponent as much as possible. At a last ditch effort, sometimes what I'll do is I'll just kind of, like, if I'm kind of close, I'll throw like a grenade towards the floor, and I'll try to kind of pin them between two grenades. So no matter which side they go, they're going to get hit by one if I have two, or if I even have any grenades. That's kind of one thing that I like to do as a last ditch effort as well. Learn when to engage, learn when to, and when you can back out of an engagement if you're losing it, and you have the opportunity to go recharge your shields, do so. You know, then you can go back and try the fight once again. But again, risk versus reward. There's a possibility that obviously, you know, you could end up dying from that. Now, next up is the equipment, right? So right now I got, for example, a grappling hook. This is new, right? You can see at the bottom right corner, I have 4 currently in my inventory. This one right here, this is basically like, I guess a little bit of like a force field melee that'll knock the enemies back. So right here, for example, right? Now the grappling hook is something that you can actually grapple to enemies. You can grapple weapons to bring them to you. You can do all kinds of things with it. So I would highly suggest going into kind of like these maps. You can even go into custom games and learn the maps on your own. Learn, you know, all the pickups and all that. But that's one thing that I would definitely suggest doing. Like I said, you can pick up the weapons like that, you know, which is super useful. You can grapple, right? There's all sorts of ways to use this equipment. So learn the equipment, learn where they spawn in each map, and you should be good to go. Okay, so now that we've covered the combat side of things, let's talk about maps and game modes, because this is very important. Again, you can go into custom games like I am right now, and you can learn the maps, right? You can learn exactly the map outlays. That's the biggest thing, is you want to understand the outlay of each map, right? You want to know the ins and the outs, because when you get into combat situations in the real world, which is in the game, obviously, you want to know, what can I do? Where can I go? For example, you want to know that this little cubby right here exists, right? You want to know that you can, you know, mantle up here, for example. You want to know that this has 2 entrances and exits, right? This spot, if there's an enemy there and there's an enemy here, I am basically screwed because I'm getting choked, right? Same thing the other way around, is that if there's an enemy in that corner and I have a teammate that's maybe shooting from that side, then I know that if I go here, we can pinch them, we can choke them, and pretty much almost guarantee that we're going to kill them as a team, right? That's one thing we're going to talk about, obviously, as well as teamwork. But, you know, again, know the map. It's very important. And the verticality, there's a lot of verticality in some of the maps, especially this one, for example. If you go here, you can jump up here, and then right there's an entrance right here. You can jump up here, mantle up here, and then suddenly you're right here. So basically, this is where the bridge is that we were just at, and this is where the other kind of the enemy spawn is, you know, if you're playing CTF, for example, right? Which is what we're in right now. So know the map, know the verticality, learn all that, learn the location of items. I know that there's an item there, right? There's equipment there, and that's a dash, by the way. I know that there's a gun here. I know exactly which gun is here because I've played this map many times and have picked up this gun many times. I know that the overshield is right there, for example. I know that the rocket launcher, which is not what's spawning because I'm in customs, but if you're in normal games, the rocket launcher would be spawning right there, which is called the Spanker. Love the name, by the way. I know all these things, right? I know that there is usually, well, it's a mangler, but normally there's what you call it? Oh my goodness, I'm drawing a blank right now. Anyways, I know that usually spawns there, for example, right? So know where everything spawns, right? Know where it spawns and know the timers, for example. Like if I go pick up that overshield, it's going to take a little bit for another overshield to pop in, right? Know roughly, you know, pay attention to that. When you're playing the game, pay attention. How long is it going to take for another overshield to kind of pop up? You know, if you know these things, then that's going to help you give it an advantage, because it's all part of awareness, right? All part of awareness. Know the control points, right? Where's a good place to kind of bunker down to try to control a zone. For example, if I know that there's an overshield here, right? I want the high ground because I know that an enemy's probably going to go there, right? I'm going to probably chuck some nades if I see an enemy go there. I'm going to try to shoot them. Know exactly where you can get the most control over your opponent and whatnot. The other thing I guess would be shortcuts, which we already talked about, like this little shortcut right here that I talked about, how to get up here, kind of a sneaky way to jump into this room. Know the shortcuts in all the different maps. You know, learning them is part of getting a little bit of an edge over your opponent. So the one thing I would actually still say about game modes and maps is obviously, like I said, know the map and know the game modes, right? For example, if I'm playing CTF, if I pick up their flag, I got to know that I am going to run slower, right? See how slow I am? And now watch, if I drop the flag, I'm a little bit quicker. So know that if you have the flag or the oddball, right? If you're playing oddball, if you have the ball in the oddball, you're gonna move slower. So for example, with the flag, a great mechanic is to pick up the flag, and if you're playing on controller, press Y to drop it and press X to pick it up, right? But jump. So jump, press Y, press X, do something like this. This will give you a little bit of a boost and whatnot. Now, the other thing is this is part of awareness, right? Try to know where the enemies are kind of generally located. If you know that they've picked up your flag and they're heading towards the left side of the map, right? Then you want to go to the right side of the map, right? So I'll go like this, and I'll move over down here. Maybe I'll go down here, right? Maybe I'll sneak down here, for example. There's a little kind of way down here. Maybe I'll go up top, right? Because that is kind of a risk that they can just chuck a bunch of nades in there. It's really predictable where I'm going to come out of. But again, if you're just hopping, dropping, picking up, hopping, dropping, picking up, you'll get to your flag a lot faster. And this is a way that you can kind of get a little bit of an advantage. So know how to play these modes, right? Know oddball, for example, right? Know where to go. If you're playing oddball, know where to hide, right? If we move over to a different map, I'll talk about that really quick. Okay, so I want to talk about communication and teamwork, but I will say about oddball, for example, right? You got to know how the ball works, right? You got to know how your player moves when you're holding it. Very, very clunky, very slow. If I drop it, it does have a rolling mechanic, right? It's going to roll a little bit. Know where to hide, right? Like if I come up here, I could hide here, but be wary that people could chuck nades up onto this balcony, and that could be kind of detrimental for you. So know kind of the areas where to go. For example, if I have a teammate that is hiding in this general area, the idea scenario, obviously this is harder with randoms, but I can control this at least. If I have a teammate here, I'm going to try to protect them, right? If someone starts shooting them, I'm going to try to be a human shield for them. I'm going to try to take the bullets and try to, get them to hold on to that oddball as long as possible. I'm going to try to kill the players that are attacking them. And it's all part of teamwork, my friends. Very, very crucial stuff. Again, know the areas. So if I'm standing here, I know that there's someone that could come from here. I know that there's someone that can come from here. And I know that there's someone that can shoot from here, and that there's nades that could be chucked from up here. And if I'm on the balcony, someone can shoot me from anywhere around there, anywhere there, unless I'm crouched kind of in this corner, then that kind of cuts that off, but that doesn't cut off the possibility of grenades. At this point, all I have to worry about is grenades coming from here and, this kind of choke point right there. So again, learn the maps and teamwork. Teamwork. I cannot stress this enough, man. Enough people do not play the objective. I get it in casual, sure, whatever. I've been playing a lot of ranked where people don't even play the objective. It's like, dude, you got to play the objective, and you got to help your teammates that are playing the objective. If your teammate has the oddball, protect them. If someone's shooting at them, so what if you die? Who cares about your KD, man? You're in it to win it. This is what it's about, especially in ranked. If you're gonna play ranked, you got to do that. So protect them. Know the situation. If you have the oddball, don't be afraid to drop the oddball to kind of get into a firefight for the time being. And if you can win the firefight, then you can pick the oddball back up, or maybe a teammate grabs or whatever. Same thing with CTF, right? If I know that there's, for example, if I know that there's a teammate coming up left side, right, I'm gonna go try to protect them. I'm gonna try to take the heat. I'm gonna try to make it so that, they can get a little bit more ahead, and I'm distracting the enemy to the best of my ability, right? You got to do these things to kind of, help out. Now, if you do have a microphone, that's obviously great for communication. Communication is key. But if you don't, one thing that I've been doing a lot is using the pin system, right? If you do have the microphone, learn the callouts, right? So for example, right now it says at the bottom left corner beside my radar, I am in the commercial district, right? This is what this area is called. If I come up here, I know this is the plaza. This is subway stairs. If I come over here, this is subway bend, subway balcony. This is the subway itself. If et cetera, et cetera. Learn the callouts if you are going to use a microphone. If you're not going to use a microphone, please use the pinning system. I don't know what it is on keyboard and mouse, but on controller, it's up on the D-pad, which is not working right now for some reason. Apparently, pinning doesn't work in custom games for whatever reason. But anyways, basically, if I was to aim at something, I could pin it, and it'll pin the location. You can pin anything. You could pin a weapon. You could pin an enemy. It'll show up red if you actually pin an enemy. Sometimes I'll just pin the general area where an enemy is and hope that my teammates understand. Use the pinning system, right? Up on the D-pad. It's not hard. Just do it. Do it so that your enemy or your teammates know there's an enemy in this general area, or, you know, this is what's going on here. If you can't use a microphone, if you can use a microphone, use it. But you could also use the combination of the microphone and pinning for, you know, kind of the most, I guess, the most ideal scenario of communication. I don't know exactly. Like I said, play the objective, right? So if you're playing CTF, for example, right, maybe someone needs to be defending your flag, you know, or maybe, you know, you need to be helping your teammates get the flag over. If you are carrying the flag, you know, like I said, the tips and tricks on how to carry it over, use that. There's all these different things. If you kill an enemy, know that, you know, it's going to take them a few seconds to respawn. You're putting them out of the game. So even if you could just be a slayer that you're going for the kills, that really helps out, because that puts the, you know, some of the enemy teammates or sorry, the enemy opponents out of the game for a set period of time, right? Which is super helpful. Okay, so ultimately, you're going to have to just play the game modes and learn the game modes for yourself. But I do want to talk about Stronghold really quick, because we've talked about CTF and Oddball, which are two of the main ones. The other one is Slayer, which is pretty much self-explanatory. Go for kills. And I want to talk about this one really quick, because basically the way it works is you need to be holding 2 points to get points, basically, right? So you need to have either A and B, or C and B, or A and C, or, you know, any combination of two. Now, the way this works is there's a lot of rotating, right? Enemies are rotating constantly. So if I'm here with my team picking up B, you know, they already have C, they're probably going to A to pick up A. And then if I'm, you know, if I'm on B and I'm starting to go to C, then they're going to be on B. Like, there's a lot of movement. You got to constantly go for the points. You have to. I've seen people in my teams that have not gone for the points constantly. They've kind of held back a bit. You can't, man. You got to go for the points. If you're not in the point, at least support your teammates that are. Be in the general, you know, area. Like if someone's capping A here and I want to kind of help them out, but not be kind of where, you know, the enemies can pick us off all as a group, then I can hang around here, for example, right? There's areas that the enemy can come in. I can try to pick them off. There's down there's over here. I could try to do a little bit of damage away from my teammates, you know, supporting them. Again, work as a team, play the objective. I cannot say this enough. You have to play the objective. You have to work as a team. It is so crucial. The other thing is, no matter what game mode you're playing, that is what I will say too, is try not to get too close to your teammate. If you can, right? Try to be close enough to them for support, so you can, you know, work as a team and as a unit, if you will. But if you're too close, for example, if I'm right, like, let's say we're both right here in this corner, right? Like I'm here and there's like a teammate right here, and someone chucks a couple nades right here, they're getting a double kill, right? But if I'm here and maybe, you know, my teammate's kind of hanging around this corner, I mean, we're still going to probably both get hit by that grenade, but at least we're not so close where, you know, we're basically one person at that point, you know? So try to stay in that general area. Or like I said, if, you know, you have a teammate picking up A, obviously the more people in the zone, the faster it caps, but you could always, you know, branch off and kind of, you know, try to support from a distance where you're still near your teammate to work as a unit, but you're not so close where, you know, the enemy's going to get a double or a triple or a quad even in the worst case scenario. So as far as in-game stuff goes, I think that covers most of the basics, the fundamentals. If you guys just practice all these things, you will get a lot better. I think what really kind of differentiates a good player from a great player is how well you can kind of learn all of these mechanics, right? If you can really utilize all of these different things that I've explained in this video to the, you know, the utmost capacity, I guess, for lack of a better phrasing, then that's going to give you an edge, right? That's what separates, for example, esports pros from, you know, just casual players, is they are really good at utilizing all these different mechanics and, of course, working as a team. If you want to win more games, you have to learn how to, you know, work as a team. Teamwork is crucial, even if you're playing with randoms. Like I said, you have a pinning system. You have all these different things that can help you. Now, there's a couple things I will just throw in at the end of this video, just as kind of like a bonus, that if you want to kind of get a little bit of an edge with your controller, if you're not on keyboard and mouse, if you're playing on controller specifically, there are controllers with paddles. The paddles on the back will give you a little bit of extra buttons that you can, you know, utilize without having to take your thumbs off the sticks. Because a lot of times, like if I go to push B, for example, I gotta take my thumb off my right stick, right? So you can just kind of, you know, set that to one of the paddles on the back. So there's like the Xbox Elite controller, for example. There's Scuff controllers. There are all kinds of controllers if you guys want to go down that route. If you really, really, really want to, you know, get that, you know, that much better, and you want even more of an edge outside of gameplay, those are things that have helped a lot of people just because, you know, it gives you more options on a controller that, you know, normally you'd have with keyboard and mouse. If you're on keyboard and mouse, you're pretty much set, right? You already have like a billion keys to choose from. The other thing is Control Freaks. I will say that I am sponsored. This video is not an ad. You don't have to use my code. If you do want to get 10% off, I do have a code JSkeleton that will get you 10% off your checkout. You don't have to use mine. You can use someone else's. You can use no code. I don't care. But I do highly recommend Control Freaks because when I started using them long before I was sponsored by them, it's like these little sticks basically that go on your joysticks, right? And it kind of, it raises the joystick a little bit higher, so your thumb sits a bit higher, and it increases the range of motion. And by doing so, that can make it so you have to move the stick less in order to, you know, aim, and that can give you a little bit more pinpoint accuracy. So I found them very useful personally. You know, it's just something that I play with all the time, a Control Freak on my right stick. I don't put one on the left stick personally, but you can do whatever you want. And there's different heights. There's kind of lower ones and medium ones and all that. And that's kind of how they work. But those are just a couple of options, you know, if you want for controller players. Like I said, keyboard and mouse, you guys already have a lot more options than we do on controller. So anyways, that's pretty much it, my friends. I know this video is probably really, really long. I wanted to go as in-depth as possible. I really hope this helped you guys out. If it did, please do let me know. If it didn't, again, let me know. You know, why didn't, because I want to obviously be able to give better advice and tips and tricks in the future and all that good stuff. So let me know your thoughts. And also, if you have any additional things that I didn't include in this video, anything that would help people out, let us know in the comment section below so we can all get better at Halo Infinite and, you know, kind of climb up those ranks. Let me know how you guys are enjoying the game so far. And if you enjoyed this video, leave it a like. If you didn't like it, dislike it. If you want to stick around for more content, be sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I'll see you guys soon in another one. Till then, my friends, game on, and thanks for watching.